In today's video, I'm going to show you a technique that I am using to mass produce card front embellishments, or for your junk journal or scrapbooking, wherever you want to use an embellishment or need an embellishment. It could be on the front of a gift bag, it could be on the top of a wrapped gift, and put the little ribbon by it, and this can be a little focal point. So there's many uses for these beautiful, darling embellishments. And what I've been doing is using them for the fronts of cards, like this one here. And it's in a quilt pattern. This is a pinwheel design, and I'm going to show you how to make these. And we're just going to mass produce a lot of these cute little pinwheel quilt embellishments. And so what you'll need for today are some of your scrap supplies, and that's another thing we're going to be doing the rest of this year and into 2022 is we're going to be using all of our scraps. We're going to try to use up all of our supplies and see if we can get through all of this year in 2022 without buying anything, and we can use up what we currently have as far as our cardstock and paper using our scraps, mass producing embellishments that can be used for card fronts, journals, scrapbooks, and more. So first, this style right here, the size we're going to need, the supplies you will need will be 1 1/4 inch squares, 2 5/8 inch squares, and 1 inch circle. And this is punched from a book page, actually 1 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inch circle punches. So all of these using punches that you have on hand. This is the size that I used here for that one. So it's the largest size. Okay, 1 1/2 right there is the size of that. Okay, and then 1 1/4 inch squares, 2 5/8 inch squares. Okay, that's what you're going to need. Very easy. And then tacky glue. I use the Aleene's tacky glue for this. You want something that's going to be substantial and hold your project in place. And then if you sew, you can take it to the sewing machine and just add the sew. If you don't, you can use a faux stitch die cut. I've seen those people are using, but I don't have that, and so I do sew, and then you just sew around the edge of this, and this piece here is then attached to the card base. So you have your embellishment, then your background piece, and then you attach that to the card base. So you could either sew it to your background piece or sew this by itself and then glue it to the background piece. I've done it both ways. But at either way, you don't see the stitching on the inside of the card, and that's the beauty of it, and that's what we're going for here. So this particular style, what I've done is I'm going through my stash, and I'm just trying to match as closely as possible what I have so that I can make these cute little designs. And I have these two. This is an old retired from Stampin' Up. I don't remember the paper names of these, but it's cotton is the plant that you can see, and it was double-sided, so it's like a purple on the back, and then this mustard yellow, and then a purple on the back here, and then this green. But I have a wood grain pattern here. I've already cut these, and then this one was a floral, very pretty. I love this creamy beige and white. Just absolutely love that. So I'm going to mix these two patterns together to make these embellishments out of. So I'll decide which ones I'm going to use. And then I had a few of this, and I don't know, I'm going to look through my stash and see if I have more of this wood grain design here, but I love it with this brown and gold. It's so pretty. It's like a burlap in the back. Okay, and so we're going to finish up on this, and then what I did is I cut the strips in the 1 1/4 inch, and then to cut it down to the squares, I just put two of them together And then I get a clamp. As soon as I find where I put them over here. Okay. I'm cutting my finger on the razor. All right, so I go down and hold it in the middle. Okay, so now that's going to hold your two pieces together perfectly. And then I just take one of my little squares that I already have, and then I just put it right here, and I hold on to it, and I use a very sharp pair of scissors, and then I cut it. And this is how I just go down the whole piece, and I'm just doing it like this. I line it up against my desk, and then I just cut. And so I will do that, and I'll finish up these two, and then we'll start gluing it into place. All right, so I have those cut out. Now I want to show you how quick and easy it is to glue this down. And I'm using this particular Aleene's tacky glue that has a very fine tip. So it's similar to your art glitter glue tip idea, that bottle. So I just put a little bit in the center here. And when I start off, which I'll show you on the next one, you only glue on the back of this corner because you have to put your other piece underneath of that corner. But I'll show you that in a minute. So it just takes a little bit, because the reason why I'm doing it like that is because I will be stitching around the edge, and you don't want your glue out here where your needle's going to be having to pass through the paper, so that's why I did it that way. So thank you for being here with me today, and I will be adding regular content back on my channel, and it's going to be the scrap busting and this mass producing embellishments videos. So it's going to be in different designs. So each video I will bring you a new pattern that will be a quilting pattern, and we will be embarking on this journey together, and it's going to be a lot of fun because we're going to be making stuff. Now all of my embellishments will be going either in my Etsy shop, Markets of Sunshine, and you can find the link to that, marketsofsunshine.store. That's in the description below. And I'm going to be using them for cards when I need a card, if I need a sympathy card, whatever kind of a card I need, whatever theme, I will be using these cards out of my stash, and then just put out the sentiment that I need on the front, and I'll be good to go. Okay, so now let me show you what happens here at the end. And since I already had, I waited, I did this on, oh, I don't even know when, days ago. So let me see if I, okay, so this one needs to go on top of that one and underneath of that one. All right, let's see if it dried up on me too much, which it's looking like it did. I'm gonna have to lift this up very, 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 very gingerly and carefully, and I will glue him back down. Okay. So you always want to make sure you can see the border of the other paper. So, okay, this is going to go under here. Yeah. See, I waited too long. All right, but that's okay. So what I need to do is I just need to come here and trim. So when you're doing this project, this particular one, don't wait and come back to your project later, because you need that glue to be wet so that you can still move your pieces around like I'm doing here. Okay, so I still need to trim this side. There we go. So you want to be able to see that outside border, so this black border, you want to be able to see that. Now I'm going to come under here, put a little bit of glue, so that will hold this back down. Okay, so then that one is done, and once it's dried, now I can let it dry, and then I can come and put my stitches where I need to stitch all the way around. So we'll set him up here. Okay, now this one, I went ahead and this whole stack of 2 5/8 pieces, the squares, I've already glued these together. Those have been glued together for quite a while. So I'm using my sewing mat here, my cutting mat, and I just line it up with one of the corners so that I can just know that I'm square and it's level, and then this line. So as long as you have it lined up here and you have it lined up here, then you know you're, level with that. And it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it. It can, move around from there, but you just want to get a starting point. And then you need to decide which pattern do you want to start off with. And you start off with this square here. You don't start off with this one. You start off with this one. And so I can either start with the flower, and then, so really it doesn't really matter with this on this particular design. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start with the cream. I've lined these two up like this, and I may alternate these so they're so thin. Now this is what I was going to show you. So you're only going to put glue on this back corner here, and so that gives us wiggle room to push that other piece in once we get around to that. And you just want to leave a teeny tiny little border. Okay, so this is not like you're, sewing, or you gotta leave a 1/4 inch seam allowance and all that kind of thing. It's just so that you can see enough of that border. I don't even know what measurement that would be considered. 1/16 of an inch? I don't know. See, but you can see here, you can see that little bit of the black there, you can see that little bit of the black there, and it's okay. And then the point here, so you just want to make sure these points come in, there, because when everything starts to come together and you have to wedge that piece in, you need to be able to do so. So when you get around there, you'll see, but as you watch me, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And if your paper doesn't have a direction to it, then it doesn't matter. But if you care that the flowers are upside down, or like if it had an animal on it, you don't want the animal upside down, something like that, then by all means, make sure you set it where it's going in the right direction. But in the papers that I'm using here, it doesn't really matter. So all I'm concerned with is this edge and the point coming together there, and that's all I need to care about. And then alternating the two patterns. So super simple, easy. I love this project. And if you didn't catch my other video where I showed you the other quilt patterns that I've already done, they're in my Etsy shop as well. Then check that out, and then it will give you inspiration. So these videos are made to inspire you to use up your scraps and to make beautiful embellishments for your junk journals or your cards and scrapbook albums. So that's the whole purpose of these videos. And they're all free. So if you would subscribe to my channel, you will receive more inspiration from me, and that would really help me. And I'd love to have you join the community. Okay. So sometimes what I notice is that these two pieces, like this piece barely has a little bit of the black, but if I wanted it to overlap, but I can, because the glue is still wet, and that's why the beauty of using the wet glue. You could use adhesive glue, but I wouldn't recommend it because you lose your ability to move things around. All right, so you can see how this one's moving because it's still wet, but that's okay, see, because I can work with him. I just need to lift this one up, slide this one underneath. Now you'll be able to see. See how I could go all the way where I needed to go with it, that one now? Because that glue had not set up over there yet. So now I'm going to hold that one there, and then I can move him into position better as to where I want it. And there you have it. Look at how beautiful that turned out. Isn't that, I mean, stunning? And no one else will have an embellishment like this unless you buy it from my Etsy shop. All right, now let's work and do the other two. So we're going to move this little stack of papers over. And now we're going to be working with this yellow, beautiful mustard yellow, and this whitewash is what I would consider it, whitewash gray color. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have this be the top starting piece, and then this is the bottom, and again we're going to just glue this corner and we will be good to go. And so we're not worried about it being glued down. Remember, it needs to be wiggly. So again, when you start your project, do it and complete it. Don't wait, because you need that piece to be able to be movable so that you can fit your other pieces into place. So I will complete all of these. I'll make these two with you on camera, and then I will complete them all and then sew them, and they'll, like I said, they'll be available in my Etsy shop. And then also I might keep one out for me to use for a future card that I need. This would make a really nice thinking of you, thank you. Just any theme would be perfect with this. That's what I love about this particular style, is that it's just adaptable. You can use it for so many occasions. And having ready-made cards on hand and ready-made embellishments is the name of the game. So that is what helps us to be more creative. So this is part of that Unlocking Your Creativity series that I've been doing, and using up your scraps and having a focal point. So the quilt theme is our focal point. And then from there, we're just using up the scraps, so we know, okay, well, all we have to do is come up with a bunch of quilt pattern themes, and we can make some beautiful card embellishments. So that's what we're doing. I did a log cabin, I did a chevron, and then this pinwheel. Okay, so we want to go over underneath of this one, but on top of this one. So we got to lift these two up because that one's wanting to go and that one's wanting to be. So I'm going to have to, wait a minute. Okay. There we go. Very good. So once you make a few of these, I mean, look at how quick it was. I mean, it just moves right along. So here's the two that we did in the cotton print, and then here's the one in the patchwork, gingham, plaid, whatever you want to call that. Not patchwork, but gingham or plaid, I would say. And the butterfly floral print. So there's that one. Here's the beautiful mustard yellow cotton and the wood grain. And then here's the beautiful green with the cotton pattern and the beige and white floral. Oh, just beautiful. And then what I do is I finish it up, and once I finish it up, I'll turn it around and I'll look at it, and I'll notice like here you don't see as much of the black. So then all I need to do is just turn it to where, okay, which one looks the best? This part here looks the best. And then that will be my top of the card, and then the rest of it, it kind of blends and you don't even notice. And it's just so beautiful that nobody's gonna, you know, they're not gonna scrutinize it and say, oh, wait a minute, that's off a hair. So now for another finishing touch, what I'm doing, I take that 1.5 inch circle punch, put it in the center, and now you can embellish this with anything else you want. A flower, a button, a little crochet piece, anything and everything. The sky is the limit of what you can do here. Okay, and I'm also using letters, so you can die cut letters and put them there. You can, any die cut shapes, you could put a cute little cluster of die cut shapes in there and just dress it up. But I loved this as a finishing touch. Instead of just putting the button in there like I did with the other ones, I came up with the idea of putting this, and then that's going to be my base for the button or whatever else, and it looked so nice. I love this piece. And then it closes up this center, whereas the button before would come in there and close it up. So like just for instance, that one there, just grabbing a button here off close by. And that's, you know, that looks very cute, but look at this. Now when it has the paper circle background, that just stands out much better. And then it takes away from the busyness of the rest of the pattern. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will hit that like button. That helps me out. Lets me know that you like the content, you like the idea, you want to stick around and join me for using up your scraps, for getting inspiration, for unlocking your creativity. Comment, that helps me out too. Let me know what you liked about it. And subscribe and share. All of those things for a YouTube creator is very helpful. So thank you very, very much for being here with me today. And stay tuned for the next video where we will also be working on using up our stash, scrap busting, mass making embellishments to use for our journals, cards, scrapbook albums, and more. Keep creating in the sunshine. Bye-bye.